Speak to Mehmet Çelik, who is here in Istanbul, the editorial coordinator at the Daily Sabah. Mehmet, great to see you. Where does Turkey fit here in this international jigsaw that Syria has now become in terms of the importance of the Syrian National Army operation against the PKK YPG terror group?
Well, Turkey has, two to three priorities. One is Syria's territorial integrity, and the other one is a political unity in Syria. And perhaps one of the most important ones for Turkey is the presence of the YPG in northern Syria and the threat that it poses to Turkish sovereignty. And this is an existential threat for Turkey. Eliminating that threat will remain, and as it has for many years, will remain a priority for Turkey. And ensuring that territorial integrity for the new government or the people that will run the country, that PKK threat in northern Syria or the YPG threat will also be an issue that must be tackled to ensure the stability within the country and to ensure that that threat does not pose become a target for Turkey and Turkish citizens.
In terms of Turkey's ability to affect Syria's future, to work with other regional actors to make sure that security is maintained, that terror groups don't reactivate or continue to operate in Syria, how much responsibility do you think Ankara will be prepared to take here? Because it could become possibly the most important actor, certainly in the near future.
I think Turkey is the most an actor that is involved within this issue mostly, and an actor that has become very influential, be it in terms of dealing with humanitarian issues or all the way to security, all the way to what will happen now in the post-conflict era with institutional building, dealing with infrastructure building. So Turkey's political influence will be there in this new era, of course, to ensure that stability is achieved and to ensure that Turkey's support is there when it comes to rebuilding the institutions that are necessary for the governance. I think being on the field for many years, being in touch with different groups for many years, and be it at a military level, at an intelligence level, or at a humanitarian level, Turkey is perhaps the most active country in the field that people also have established a level of trust towards, where they rely on Turkey's opinion how to go forward for a stable Syria.
And in terms of the threats to the West, how much will the West rely on Ankara? Because the fear has been for some time, and Hakan Fidan is kind of alluding to it, about the fear, especially in Europe, of Daesh pockets of resistance leaving Syrian territory and entering Western nations, Turkey being almost like the guard for Europe, as it has been during the migrant crisis of the past decade and a half or so. How about Ankara's cooperation with Western governments and what the West will need from Ankara to protect itself?
Well, Turkey has always been in an attempt to cooperate with the West, be it the European countries or the United States, to ensure that terrorism in Syria, be it Daesh or other forms, is eliminated. However, I think there has been a mistake on the Western part to cooperate with another terrorist group against Daesh, and that is the support that they have given to YPG, which ultimately turns into a threat to Turkey, which is a country that they see or they put out as an ally. Now there's my terrorist against your terrorist equation here that has been contributing to instability in Syria, also affecting Turkey West relations negatively. I think the Western countries, be it EU or the United States, must come to acknowledge Turkey's influential position with regards to Syria, be it in security or in other levels, and have Turkey's say and trust Turkey when it comes to fight against Daesh, as Turkey was the only country with boots on the ground that were fighting against Daesh effectively. Now, if they employ YPG and continue to support YPG against this threat of Daesh that still remains in their eyes, I think this will contribute only to further instability and further threat to territorial integrity of Syria, which is something that the Syrians, as a unified people, as a unified population, will not want to see. But Turkey is ready to eliminate all forms of terrorist activity along its borders or in other parts of Syria. Turkey is ready to cooperate with the West for that. But unfortunately, there's a strategic backlash coming from the Western countries as they support another terrorist group against Daesh.
Mehmet Çelik, always a pleasure. Mehmet, thanks for the analysis.